Or maybe some of the people who've never written grants or anything, like I've heard one way to just kind of start out is doing the really small ones that people kind of forget about, and then there's less reporting, less kind of pressure, you know, as opposed to applying to those huge $1 million kind of CIC grants. So is that a strategy that you would recommend, kind of starting small?
I think what we're really saying is, when it comes back to the beginning of, again, I echo so much of what Clarissa said, is that vision, just as Barb was saying, about, it's not about the grant and if the grant is small or big. It's about the project that you want to do. And so the grant isn't too big or too small if you have enough people to do it. So there's no grant that's too big if you've given yourself enough time to write it and you have enough people together and you have the capacity. I would say that when you go traveling, sometimes you pack for 5 days, and when you pack for 5 days, you can also travel for 3 weeks. Does that link? I'm not sure. I have to ask my 11-year-old, she'll say. But I think what I'm saying though is that I don't think that the fundamental key in that piece is that the people that are even considering that strategy need to change the lens and not think about the grant. They need to think about what they're doing and what is matching what they're doing. Rather than like, this is a huge grant and I'm going to do this huge project to get $800,000, you're definitely setting yourself up for pain. Although even if it's an amazing job, sorry, and I apologize if other people have been in that painful place, I know I have. Yeah, and that's my long answer.
One thing I would add to that would be, particularly when you're starting, there might be a bit of nervousness doing bigger grants. Most people in the nonprofit and charitable sector, you can find people who'd be willing to mentor you or help you read over the grant at the end. I mean, a lot of the stuff that you might be nervous about, there's definitely people who'd be willing to help you without any charge, and you just ask around for help.
I just wanted to build on that and say that there's the grant writing itself, and then there's the grant management, right? So, when you go for smaller pockets of funding, it's easier to manage the grant, it's easier to figure out where does it fit in your fiscal year, and
Probably easier to get.
yeah.
Right?
Well, no, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, it really depends. But the larger the grant, for multi-year grants, you then have to do these pieces of, when are your deliverables, and you really have to map it out. So it's doable if you're starting out, but this is where you really need a strong support system to get you through it otherwise.
And good visioning. And I was going to say that, grantors really are human beings at the end of the day with a vision, and they're well researched in the objectives of what they want to achieve. So they really are your friends, and they're trying within their own capacity to respond. What I've found is that the little smaller $5,000 and $10,000 grants are by smaller foundations that have less capacity to hear or respond, or they don't have a fully staffed office when it's a small family foundation. Then you have the big behemoth or behemoth of organizations where it's a big machine and they're trying to put out an online interface because they've got so many people and it's such big grants. So it's just different ways of trying to dialogue, but behind the behemoth and behind the family foundation is a human being. It's just a question of accessing and yeah, they're